How's it going, everybody? My name is Matthew Mulholland. I'm the owner of Aftermath Esports, and today I just want to talk to you guys about the Tier 2 scene in Valorant with the whole franchising thing going on and all these teams leaving, and what that means for you as a player and the fan base of the game. So, starting off, franchising overall is good, especially the way they're doing it now. I had a lot of apprehension at first because they introduced some stupid franchise thing where it was like 6 teams from all of America, which didn't seem like it was going to work. But now it seems like they are going to follow a League of Legends LCS sort of style for their franchising, which overall is good for the scene. It really, really is. It's going to bring in a lot of more money to it, a lot new viewers, everything across the board will be good. I know everybody's kind of worried right now because a lot of teams have pulled out, like a Crew and other tier 2, tier 1 teams that are franchising or that didn't make the franchise cut. And I know that could be scary, but that does just make sense because right now there is a lot of uncertainty in the space, especially for those teams that are paying money for their players. So until that gets kind of hammered out, you're going to see any team that gets rejected from the franchising partnership that is salarying their players, they're going to take an exodus right away because it's costing them money to be in the space right now, and there's no security whatsoever, especially if they don't make it to the next round of the partnership talks. So, overall, what does that mean for Tier 2 players? I think it doesn't change much overall because from what we know, you're still going to be allowed to run like tournaments like Knights and Nerd Street. You have VCS. You have a bunch of Tier 2 tournaments that you can still participate in. That isn't going to change the way it is now. But what I think is going to happen is you're going to have a lot more of a concise roadmap on how to go from that Tier 2 space to like pro. Because right now, like, there's still a debate on which teams are even Tier 1. Because if you're not qualified for VCT, but you're an amazing team, are you still Tier 1? Are you not? How do you get onto those teams? Are they looking? Like, how do you differentiate yourself from other players in the space? There's a whole lot going on that I think it makes it very difficult, besides just grinding the game out, to really know what is best overall. So with this franchising spot, depending how Riot decides to go about it, I think it's going to give a more concise roadmap for you to know, like, hey, these are the teams I got a gun for, here are the tournaments we play in, here's how I actually got to move down that pathway. I think Riot can do a lot of good in this space by following something like Call of Duty with their CDL League and then their Challenger League. The problem with that is the Call of Duty falls short on supporting their Challenger players. They have a great tournament system, but they don't give them any amount of like recognition. They don't really put them up on mainstream. They don't put a lot of coverage around it. So the competition's there, and it's a good scouting ground for CDL teams, but they don't get the recognition they need. Something they do good though is their pro-ams. So basically, the top 4 players or teams from CDL have the chance to go in a tournament against the top CDL players, or sorry, top 4 challenger team go against the top teams in the actual CDL, and they have a chance to compete against them. And through that, a lot of scouting happens, and people make it into the actual CDL league. So with the inclusion of franchising, if Riot does well with keeping the Tier 2 scene active through a variety of different tournaments, like a Challengers sort of circuit, that would be very good, especially for teams like myself with Aftermath. We want to have a team in Valorant. We love the game. We know, especially now with franchising, we will never be a pro team in this esport, unfortunately. But let's be honest, beforehand, that was kind of a slim chance, anyways, with what the competition was. So it kind of gives us a path now to understand where our limits are, where we can kind of break into the scene and find a really good sweet spot in between. And I think that's what's going to happen with a lot of players, too. You got to realize that you need to really step up your game now, because for a long time, we've been running in this like open market, like it's been free. You've been seeing people make a lot of money, a lot of salaries, and it's just been uncapped and unrealistic and not scalable for the long term. So now we're kind of bringing that back. We're bringing the peak of Valorant way higher, right? You're going to have a lot more money in the space, a lot more security for those big teams, a lot more corporate sponsors, a lot more viewership. It's going to be great for the game overall. But now these tier 2 players that are kind of used to being up that high echelon of the game, they got to rein back their expectations a bit and also work a little bit harder on a lot of different aspects, mostly being content creation. If you're not marketing yourself properly online and giving something tangible for these teams to really utilize, right? Especially when it comes to just straight analytics, you're going to get overlooked for other players. And I'm not saying you have to be like a 10,000 average viewer streamer and have 500,000 subs on YouTube. Like, no, just create content. Be active in a positive light on Twitter. Get on TikTok, start uploading clips for there, start making YouTube videos about it. You don't have to be insane, but you have to be doing something, because any org that is looking to pick up a player, especially with how big the pool of players is going to be now, you need to stand out slightly. Like, if you have two players identical skill that fill the same role, identical, and you have one player that's creating TikTok videos that only has like maybe 100 subs, but they have like a tangible thing the org can kind of base itself off, you're going to see them start to overtake other players because they have a bit more to offer. So I really think now is the time to double down on it. You know, the the path isn't going to be as easy, but it'll be a lot more clear. And now it's going to give you realistic expectations as to what you have to do as a player to get to the next level. And if orgs are looking to get into the tier 2 scene, I think a lot more players need to be willing to work with an organization rather than running free agent rosters, because right now the opportunity for you to get on a salary level, say in 3 months now, compared to 6 months on an org, you have a chance to build with them and actually do something big with it. So I think the entire landscape in the tier 2 scene and the mindset, the expectations has to change a lot, and the work ethic has to go up tenfold, because now it's not just enough to be an insanely good player. You also have to now differentiate from all the other insanely good players that just get dropped and will continue to get dropped until we finalize and find out which teams are going to take up that 10 to 12 spots in America for this partnership league. Because outside of that, any other team that doesn't make it, they will be dropping players. And a lot of these teams are going to be like VCT closed qualifying teams that are having insane players that are now on the market, free agents. And if roster mania doesn't happen, and a lot of these teams that get accepted don't drop all their players now and try to make up better rosters with all these new free agents, then you're going to see a lot of insane talent you have to compete with now. So I think the best thing to do now is put your head down and keep going to work, because it's not dead. You have a really good chance of still making it, but you've got to put in the work across the board and be a well-rounded player for an org to be interested in, not just a demon online, right? So, yeah, overall, I think the way they're going with franchising will be great for Valorant as an esport. I think we're going to see a lot more money, a lot more viewership, a lot more support across the board. But right now, until we have everything in sort of given to us, all the information, just don't panic. Don't start retiring. Don't go apply at McDonald's if you don't have to right now. You know, don't think it's over for you just because you're not on a tier 1 team right now. Just put your head down, start creating that content, and keep going down the same route. And you probably have the same chances, if not better now, to make it pro than you did beforehand. You just got to put the work in. All right? So once again, guys, don't panic. We're still good. All right? Let's talk to the next one. Peace.